Hey, it's me, Riker. Today we're going to have a look at Stargazing priority and what are the best heroes you can get for campaign and other PvE related content. So what is Stargazing? Stargazing is similar to choice summons where you can summon for any hero in the game. However, I would not recommend summoning for any normal hero other than Celestials or Hypergenes, as these are premium heroes and can sometimes offer a massive benefit to your roster and to any other event in the game. So when we click on the Choose Hero button, we can see that every single faction is available from Lightbearers, Maulers, Wilders, and Graveborn. However, do not choose any of these heroes to summon from Stargazing. Choose any hero from one of these, the Celestials or the Hypergenes. So once you have had a look through this list, you'll select a hero. So you can choose Frampton, Lucretia, or Mortis. So once you've selected a hero, you click Save. Now, what this will do is when you use diamonds or you use Stargazing tickets, you'll summon specifically for that hero and only that hero. And you have a chance of getting that hero each time you do a pull. So here's the probability for these specific heroes and what other rewards you can get. So for the specific hero that you choose is a 2% chance. To get 30,000 diamonds is a 0.01% chance. Here's the probability that you can get a couple of red gear. So you can get anything from plate, leather, or cloth gear from here. You can get a variety of Dura's fragments for the respective Grace, Eye, Core, Drape, and so on. All right. And then you can also get a couple of purple cards with respect to the faction that you summon. So you can get a couple of Lightbearer cards, Wilder cards, Mauler, or Graveborn cards. Also, you can get blue food, arena tickets, and upgrade tokens. Additionally, you can get a couple of large crates of gold, EXP, and essence, which are fantastic for any early and late game accounts. So, when you summon a hero, you'll summon one of these possible rewards. And when you do that, you'll be slowly upgrading your account by getting copies of this hero. Now, Celestial Hypergenes ascend differently to normal heroes. You need multiple copies of the same hero in order to be able to ascend them. So you'll need 2 copies of them to get to Elite Plus, 4 copies to get them to Legendary, 6 copies to get them to Legendary Plus. You need 8 copies to get them to Mythic. You need 10 copies to get them to Mythic Plus. And then you need 14 copies to get them to Ascended. And if you are going for a specific hero that you want to engrave, then you'll need to get them to 1 star, meaning that you need to get them to 16 copies that you need to gaze for or get them from specific events in the game. So you've started a new account, but you don't know which hero that you should gaze for. So the best heroes that you can gaze for while starting a new account would be your first copy to get an elite copy of Twins. This hero is a support hero that in most cases can double your damage on boss fights. So this can be on the guild bosses, Twisted Realm, and event specific bosses such as Hunting Field or Abyssal Expedition. This hero provides energy, shares the stats between the 2 front row heroes, boosts the haste, which is one of the most powerful stats in the game. Essentially, all around, this is one of the best supports for bosses in the game. The next hero that I would gaze for, however, it depends on your account and what current heroes you have. So if you have a Ascended or a maxed out Saurus or a Gazul, then you don't need to gaze for a Mortis. What Mortis does is when he uses his ult, he'll empower the hero by giving them 40% increased attack power of their own attack power. So this is great when paired with twins, as this can further increase your damage that you deal to these bosses, from guild bosses, Twisted Realm, or event specific bosses. However, this is up to you and whether you want to go for this hero. The next hero that I would recommend getting is Aziz. However, you should get Aziz from the Challenger store. So once you have 250,000 coins, then you should buy yourself at least one copy of Aziz. He's great for the Ice Chimera Twisted Realm boss, and he works extremely well by, even if he dies, he still provides a benefit to your team by giving your team a small amount of energy every single couple of seconds. Now the next hero that you should gaze for is Lucretia. What Lucretia is a powerhouse in this game. She is used nearly everywhere in this game, from hunting fields, abyssal expedition, anywhere in arena and campaign. How she works is, when a hero dies, she gains a significant amount of attack power and other secondary stats. I've seen a lot of replays where even at Mythic and 30 SI signature item, she's easily able to solo the entire enemy team, with deficits ranging all the way from 250 to 300 level deficits once she is fully invested. Basically how this hero works is you put her in a 5 team. You put Lucretia with any 5 heroes. So this can be 5 Hypergenes, or this can be a specific heroes that you are looking for, such as maybe the Iron 5 pool to group enemies together. And essentially what happens is the other heroes will die, Lucretia will ult, and she will gain a lot of stats from each hero dying. So what are these stats? From here you can see that she will gain 50% increased attack power for each ally that dies. So if that's 4 allies that die, that's 200% increased attack power. And she gains haste, 8 points for every single hero that dies. So that is 32 points of haste for 20 seconds. This is a massive amount for her. Additionally, in order to make her ult faster, when you unlock her signature item, she gains 150 points of energy over 5 seconds for every ally that dies. So this is a massive amount, 600 points for 4 allies. She can easily get her first, second, and even third ult just because of this specific ability. When you get her furniture, this allows her to get more damage reduction, and it allows her to deal more damage by allowing her Hellfire effect to become permanent. What this Hellfire effect does, it deals a bit of damage, it gives her a bit of damage reduction, but the most important thing, it cancels the enemy ults. So when, for example, you're fighting against a Thorin or for example a Nomura, when these heroes ult, they will be able to easily fully heal their team, or Thorin will be able to essentially, you won't be able to do any damage to him for when he ults. So this allows you to cancel enemy ults, allowing you to seal the victory and progress through the stage. Now she does most of her damage through her normal attacks and through her Hellfire ability. And when paired with heroes such as Mortis, he'll be able to even buff her damage even further than she currently is able to do by herself. I would recommend getting her all the way to Ascended. However, I would only engrave her later once you have other specific heroes built, as Engravings gives her many stats such as attack, HP, crit, and so on. However, she gains a very important stat called Life Leech. Now, what Life Leech is, each time she deals damage, she'll get a percentage of that health back from all the damage that she does. So, when she's not engraved, she will not have this stat. So this allows it to sustain and to fight longer in fights. So this allows it to, for example, even if all the other buffs run out, such as the haste, the attack, and so forth, she still will be able to benefit and to heal herself through the entire duration of the fight. I'll say exactly when you should get this engravings. The next hero that you should get is none other than Auna. Now, Auna is a very special hero as she provides immunity to all damage for the first 16 seconds of the battle when she has a fully upgraded signature item and furniture. Essentially, when she is paired with a hero such as Lucretia, Grizul, or Isolde, these heroes are easily able to use all of their abilities, essentially being able to ramp up their damage before the other heroes die, and then heroes like Grizul, Isolde, and Lucretia are easily able to finish the battle by themselves. When you get into higher deficits, this hero becomes essential as you need a bit of time in order to gain energy and to use your hero's abilities. This hero provides a solid wall for your front row that your backline heroes such as Pharrell, Silas, and Odin can easily do their specific abilities, group up the enemies so that your other allies can do their job properly. Now, the one thing with her, she needs to have full investment. So that means 30 SI, and she needs to have 9 furniture, as this will unlock the second. She'll allow her ally next to her on the front row to also gain the effects of the immunity. Additionally, she can deal a significant amount of damage in the Celestial Tower on her own, as one of her abilities deals a percentage of their max health. So this does 10% of the enemy's max health, and it is capped to 520% of Auna's own attack rating. So this is a massive amount of damage that she can do by herself. The next hero that I would recommend going for would be either Mihira or Twins. And I would specifically recommend gazing her all the way to Mythic. This unlocks a signature item and gives her a significant amount of stats in order to boost her toughness and her way to gain additional energy. So how does Mihira work? Essentially, when she ults, she uses her ultimate ability, she charms enemies for 5 seconds. While the enemies are charmed, they will attack each other for that specific duration. This allows you to essentially use the enemies to kill themselves while you keep on mind controlling them to attack each other. When paired with heroes such as Rowan and Rosaline, this allows you to permanently mind control the enemies to essentially kill themselves and to win the battle. This can be further improved using her signature item. When at 30 signature item, any healing abilities or effects will be converted into energy. So if Mihira is at 100% health, any excess healing will be converted into energy. However, this does not work with heroes, for example, like Saurus or other healers who will be healing Mihira. This has to be any healing effects that Mihira gains herself. So this can be through her life leech when she attacks enemies, when she uses her bats that will occasionally attack enemies and heal her, and will convert the amount of damage that they do into healing for Mihira. and additional abilities that Mihira has in order to heal herself up and keep her to full. She can be further improved by using a hero called Khazad. Now Khazad increases the duration of any negative effects that are affecting the enemy. So at 30 SI, any effect, for example, such as Mihira's mind control, will be extended even further. So that 5 seconds will be extended all the way to 8 seconds. This gives you a significant amount of time in order to control enemies and to have more leeway with your energy and your ultimates. This effect persists even when Khazad dies. However, he needs to be at least mythic and 30 SI for this specific combination of heroes to work. The next hero that I would recommend to finish would be Twins, and I will be getting them all the way to mythic. This significantly improves their defense and improves their chances to survive until the very end of battle. This allows you to get a more consistent damage instead of them being elite and dying very early on in the fight. These additional stats will keep them alive, and I would recommend getting them all the way to 20 SI in order to get the full benefit out of their abilities. So at 20 SI, this allows them to reduce the amount of incoming damage from the enemy by 40%. This is a massive buff to them as they significantly need this in order to survive. Now the next hero that you should get would be Mortis to Mythic. Now, if for example you have a Silas that is already ascended and at 30 SI, then he can replace that Mortis who is at Mythic, as he can provide a similar benefit where when your allies are at 50% or above, they will have their attack rating increased by 20%. However, Mortis is irrespective. Even if Mortis dies, he'll still provide that effect. But what's special about Mortis's SI is when he is upgraded to 20 signature item, he'll give allies an AoE attack each time he uses his greed ability, which is his ult. So this will give them a chance to attack multiple enemies at the same time each time they use their normal attack. So this is extremely powerful on heroes such as Lucretia, Ainz, and other carries who need this damage, life leech, and the additional area of effect. Now it is up to you and to what you feel would most benefit your team, either having a mythic Mortis or increasing your ascension of your Silas by making him 30 SI. So it's up to you as to what path you specifically want to go for. The next heroes that I would recommend is finishing off both heroes, Mihira and Khazad, all the way to Ascendum. What this does is this allows them to deal more damage at the specific higher tiers. So when you start reaching deficits of maybe 200 to all the way to 300 plus deficits, this allows you to more easily complete the battle and kill off all the enemies, as every single point of damage will greatly benefit your team. As sometimes, even though you can fully lock out the enemy and not allow them to use any of their abilities or attack you throughout the entire fight, you'll just not have enough damage in order to be able to kill all the enemies in time. The next heroes depends on what you want to go for. So when you're using your challenger coins, you should always go for either Merlin or Leonardo da Vinci, depending on whether you want a healer or a extremely powerful damage dealer. And after that, I would recommend using this remaining of your challenger coins and gazing on Zorath, getting him to Ascended and unlocking his furniture. Now what makes this hero extremely powerful is when you start fighting many Flora stages or heroes that you need to lock out immediately as soon as you enter battle, is his furniture delays the enemies by 0.75 seconds. This is crucial as this allows you in most cases to stop an enemy from using their abilities, or in this case Flora, being able to fly up and to wreak havoc on your team. This allows you to lock out that specific hero and deal massive amounts of damage. However, he's not a damage dealer. He's mainly used for that specific role in order to lock out enemies and to essentially speed up your allies onto the battlefield. Also, his other buff is he can deal damage to enemies through any immunity effects. So for example, let's say you're fighting a Brutus or any other hero that has less health than Zorath, then he can ignore any defense and damage immunity if they have less than 40% of their max health. This will help you finish off many enemies that are low on health but just refuse to die. Now at this stage, you have probably encountered multi-stage battles and you are slowly starting to build up all of your teams to Mythic 30 SI and 9 furniture. So what is my next step? I would highly recommend getting your Lucretia all the way to 1 star. This allows you to unlock Engravings. Now Engravings is a very powerful feature where you can buff your hero from 30% all the way to nearly 90%, increasing all of their stats. So this is HP, attack, defense, and many other secondary stats. So here are some of the stats that they'll benefit when they are upgraded. As you can see here, one of the strongest stats, haste, and in this case life leech, which is extremely powerful for Lucretia. And here are some of the additional effects that they will get. So the damage that Lucretia receives is reduced by 20% for the first 7 seconds. When you read her ability, this lasts for 5 seconds, and when you engrave it to 30, this lasts for 7 seconds. This, in most cases, sometimes is make or break whether you pass a stage or not. And at 60 engravings, when on the front line, she simply gets more secondary stats to her dodge and tenacity. And when she uses her ult, she'll consume both of these skulls, the twin terrors, and she'll permanently gain the stats that she has listed above here. Also, this makes her extremely tanky and allows you to push even higher deficits with her when she is engraved to 60. Now it is your option whether you would want to either to push her further with stars and make her more powerful in terms of stats, or you can engrave her additional 5 times in order to increase her attack power. So the next step is up to you and what you think is the most beneficial for your account. So either get her to 3 stars or increase her attack power in this all the way to 65 engravings in order to push her to her next breakpoint and to be able to survive and deal more damage. The next hero that you should Stargaze is depending on personal preference. In my case, I chose to Stargaze for Athalia and to finish her off faster in order to use it in Arena and other PvP events. Additionally, Athalia is extremely powerful in the Celestial Tower. However, you can also use heroes such as Muriel and Helios in Tower and in PvP, as they deal a significant amount of damage, and in Helios' cases, he can provide a significant amount of support. Also, you can gaze for Taylene, as Taylene is very powerful in distracting enemies and healing your allies. She's lost her ranking, but she's still extremely potent and can do her role extremely well. For Hypogeans, you can either gaze for Zicus, You can gaze for Zikas as he's very strong in PvP and in tower, as he can deal a significant amount of damage if the enemies have not used their ults. Frampton shows a lot of promise as he's got a significant amount of damage reduction through his abilities, and he can provide a significant amount of control and damage to your allies when he uses his ultimate ability.